Hello, gentle people. If this is your first time visiting the Sparrow Art Vibes channel, welcome. And if you are a returning viewer, welcome back. In this video tutorial, I will show you how I fulfill or complete this particular Etsy order for a 4-piece gourmet cheese tool set. I am going to show you how I use the cup turner to make sure that the resin stays on the round handles. So if this is something that interests you, keep watching. The materials that we will need, or supplies, however you want to call it, for this project is a 4-piece, ooh, look at the reflection, a 4-piece gourmet cheese tool set, painter's tape to protect the blades, then our resin, Craft Smart Part A resin and Craft Smart Part B hardener. Since this is just a little bit of resin, we only need our small measuring cup. We're going to have 3 colors of resin plus the sand. So we need 4 small cups. We need our stir sticks, our nitrile gloves, and for mica powders we're going to be using the All Starry Aqua Blue, the All Starry Okinawa Blue, and I love my little Shimmery Nodway Blue Cyan. We need our beach sand. And again, if you've seen me work with sand, I like to add a little bit of fine glitter in gold to give the sand, make the sand glisten a little bit. And I love this Bling It Interference Gold. And again, I like this because, as it says on the container, it lightens colors with interference, adds sparkling chrome and metal effects. That's what I'm looking for. And so that's it. Those are the materials that we need for this project. Okay, so we're going to get started taking our tools out. And I call these gourmet tools because the handles on these tools are round. And let me show you what I'm talking about. These are completely round. So if you pour resin on these, the resin is simply going to roll right off and drip off the bottom. Wherein, so these are my gourmet tools. This is a standard tool. So the blades are the same, but the handles are completely different. This one you can just set on a table, you can paint it. When I do these, I don't see a straw right now, so I'll grab this pipette. So when I'm doing these, I can simply elevate it on something so the blade doesn't hang down, and then I can just paint that and I can leave that. These, on the other hand, because they are round, you cannot simply paint these. Again, the paint will run off. So what I'm going to do is put these on my cup turner. But before I do, we need to just add some painter's tape to these. And that really, the resin is not coming down to the bottom, but just to make sure that none drips onto the blade, we're going to tape these off. And I'm big on recycling, so we are going to just take some tape that I already have used. And we're not taping all the way down to the bottom because I need to be able to get the blade onto get the blade onto the turner. And because this has an odd shape, it has to be taped twice because that goes down. So we're going to put a piece of tape on this side. And this is not about beauty. This is simply about, as I said, protecting So there are our tools. And let me move this so I can get my cup turner. This cup turner comes with attachments so that you can slide the cup onto this end. But for us, in order for me to actually use this the way I need to, I purchased just at the dollar store a foam football, and then I've just cut slices into this so that I am going to then take the blade, slide that in like that, slide that in like that, push that into the foam like that, and I hope this is in the camera correctly, and push this one in like so. And then I already put the hole on that. Oops, let me see the hole. And so this I then slide onto there. And so when I turn this on, I'll be drizzling the resin on here, and this will be revolving. And so it won't really have much of a chance. Well, some may drip off, but most of it won't. But before I do that, let us mix our resin. This is a very small project. It only needs a little bit of resin. And so I always mark my cups. We're going to be using 60 milliliters of resin to do this. Get my gloves on. We are going to be pouring 30 milliliters of the Part B hardener. $30 milliliters of the Part A resin. Craft Mart instructions ask you to mix your resin for 5 minutes, so I'm going to set the timer for 5. I'm going to start stirring and just put this on fast forward. Okay, our resin is mixed, and so now we want to add our colors. And so we're going to pour a little bit in here for the sand. We're going to pour a little bit in here for one blue, two blue, and that blue cyan that I love so much. Let's start with the blue cyan. That is so sparkly. Okinawa blue, which is more of a sort of turquoise teal kind of thing going on. And then our aqua blue. And again, we're just doing a dash. I love mica powder because it doesn't require a lot. A little teeny bit goes a long, long way. And then this last cup, I'm going to put the sand in, but I don't want to do the sand here in my work area because I wind up, I said before, like glitter. It gets all over everything. So I'm going to take this cup out of the camera view, add the sand, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I've added my sand. I'm going to now add the gold glitter, but again, not doing it here because I don't want it on to get on everything. I don't use a lot of glitter just because of the cleanup. And then our interference gold, just a little bit of that. Okay, so our colors are mixed. Now the one thing I forgot to put in my materials is my gesso. And if you've watched any of my video, if you're new to my channel, whenever I'm working with wood, I always put an undercoat of gesso on it because then the wood doesn't show through, and because the base is white, it makes your colors much more vibrant. So I'm going to paint just the tops of these handles with the gesso. Now, let me just say two things. One, this has to dry, and we'll give it about 15 minutes. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I need this resin to thicken some. I do not advise you to start pouring the resin as soon as you mix it because it's very thin. You want to give it time to thicken some, to sort of set a little bit, because then when you put it on, it's less likely to just roll right off. And notice I'm not doing all the way down to the bottom because this part is going to have the sand mixture on it, so it's fine for the bottom to be brown where the sand is going to go. And we are just going to set that right up here. I am right-handed. There we go. Yeah, I'm setting my timer for 15 minutes, and then when I come back, we will turn this turner on. I am using the Globus. When you go online and decide what you want, I picked this because a lot of the turners have a bar underneath, and because I was doing the dog food bowls and they're so wide, I couldn't have anything under here, so that's why I have this particular model. But yeah, we're going to give it 15 minutes and then we'll come in and we'll start to pour and let this turn. Okay, I am back and these are getting a little, I mean, that's still runny. Let me see. Yep, they're runny, but they're a little thicker and the cups are starting to warm up. So then all I'm going to do is just start applying the resin. And you can see how it rolls down. But because it's turning, you don't get as many drips. Because as it turns, it rolls to the other side. Okay, so that one looks almost completely covered. This one needs a lot of work. This one needs some work down at the bottom. Okay, and so now we're going to start with our other blue. We're just going to let that drizzle. And then we want to start with our sand. And because the sand is heavy, some of it is dripping off, but that's okay. As this starts to thicken, it will stay. And sometimes when people are talking about how you price your work, they don't really realize how long it takes for you to create some of the things that you create and how much time and attention it takes. This turner is a wonderful tool, but you really have to be here adding to it and watching it and monitoring it and trying to get an even If this were a cup, it would be easy because you could get on the inside, but here you have to really be managing this. I've got a whole side on the inside of these that are not done. But I don't know if you can see the mat underneath to see how little resin has actually dripped. And I don't talk a lot when I'm doing this because I'm paying attention to the spots and places that I've missed. And I can't really walk and chew gum at the same time, I guess. Okay, so I think we have sand on the handle like we're supposed to. And so now we'll go back with these other colors. And add these where needed. And now for my pretty blue. Trying to thin this sand out a little bit because it's pooling right down at the bottom. It's pooling where this dent is. I don't know what you call it. The curve in the handles. It's pooling in that curve. So I'm trying to pull some of that up. Am I blocking the view with my shadow? Maybe. Just trying to even this out some. It will even out on its own as it spins or turns. But I'm liking that. And let's make sure we've got our sand on here correctly. And when you put these on this turner, you leave this going all night long. This turner stays on overnight. This runs continuously. I do not unplug this because once you unplug this and this stops turning, all the resin's going to slide to one side. And we don't want that, so you have to allow this to turn all night long. I think that's a song, All Night Long. There's a song like that. And so now I'm not drizzling in straight lines. Now I'm kind of doing a diagonal drag. Okay, so I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. Okay, so this is I'm going to leave this like this. This will spin the rest of the night. And when we come in tomorrow, this will be dry. And I'm going to move the camera to show you just how little actually dripped onto the mat. By waiting to allow this to thicken, so this is what you're charging for. You're charging for your time to sit and babysit this. And we're just going to leave this to turn all night long. And I learned that the hard way. I turned this off the first time I used the turner. When I got ready to go to bed, I turned it off, and when I came in the next day, all the resin was down on the mat. It had slid off because, I mean, it takes hours for this to actually cure, and until it cures, it can still move, and because it's on a curved surface, it just, if it were flat, that would be different, but because it's curved, it just slid right on off. So a lot of what I tell you, I have learned through trial and error. You get to learn from my mistakes. So we're not going to turn this off. We're going to leave this on. And that's that. The ends are all covered. I don't have any gaps anywhere that I'm looking at. And again, you can see how little actually dripped on the mat. It is the next day. This looks good. We'll turn this off. Take this off. Now, I don't know if you can see this big old giant safety pin in here. This was so heavy. This is that big wide blade, and this actually fell off last night. I came in here before I went to bed. It fell off and I had to put it back in there, but to make sure it stayed, I put some extra tape on it and stuck this pin in there to hold it in place. But now we can take these out, and that doesn't require anything. That is perfect. Just wipe the blade off, take a look-see. That's nicely done. Pull this one out. Nicely done. This one has just a little bit of resin right there, so I'm going to hit that with the heat gun to soften that, and then we'll take the razor and we'll just pop that off. But otherwise, that looks good. But I've got a little drip of resin. Let's see, I've got right here a little drip of resin right there. So let's fix that. I have it off the metal. I would need it off the wood. There we go. Yep. Okay, nice, 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 nice. And then for this last one that I had to go in and almost lasso it to this. Okay, and so this, because it fell and I had to handle it last night, has some resin on this side of the blade, so we're just going to hit that with the heat and then scrape that off. I have a little bit on the wood here that I don't like. Another little spot right there. Okay, so let me clean these with some alcohol. And they are done. These are they. Whee.